All right, Auburn and Texas A&M. We've got Texas A&M 6.5-point home favorites, 52.5 the total. This is one of the many good SEC games we've got coming up this weekend. Of course, for Texas A&M, they were involved in one of the true barn burner games of this college football season last week against, or a couple weeks ago against Notre Dame. What a game that was. They come back and they win 41-40. They're also off a bye for Mike Elko and his Texas A&M team going into this one. So they do get the extra time to prepare. Meanwhile, Auburn is off one of these, physical, hard-fought, tough, down-to-the-wire games against Oklahoma, a game they end up on the losing end of it, 24-7. It's not 24, it's 24-17 against Oklahoma last week. There were some positives from Auburn. The defense kind of struggled against South Alabama. For a decent amount of that game, they kept the run game in check for sure. John Mateer only had 29 rushing yards, and Torrey Blaylock only had 13 rushing yards. But it was the arm of Mateer that actually made the difference for Oklahoma. He was good in the pass. That's what I think has made Mateer kind of special, is the fact that his passing has really improved. 24 for 30.
He's made some big plays.
271 through the air. He's avoided interceptions, which has been big. It was a huge game for Isaiah Satania, the third for Oklahoma. He had a huge game and carved up Auburn's secondary a little bit. That's really the big issue for Auburn, is the secondary is still an area of concern. The pass defense hasn't been exactly that great for Auburn this year. They've given up some big plays in that passing game. The run defense was better, and even last week against Oklahoma, despite the loss, and even in spite of that, the run defense numbers are mediocre. They're giving up one, actually, they're pretty good. They are pretty good. 58.2 rushing yards per game, 1.9 yards per carry. So the run defense has been very good. It's the pass defense that's been more vulnerable. And we are talking about an improved arm, I think you can say, and throwing ability of Marcel Reed for Texas A&M. I think he's done a better job so far this year in the passing game. This A&M offense has looked very solid. Like, he threw for 360 against Notre Dame. Like I said, he's clearly worked on his pocket passing going into this year. And here he is, at 9 touchdowns, 1 interception, almost 900 passing yards on the season. If you were to say to me that going into this game, these teams played last year, I would say, you know what? With Auburn good against the run, not as good against the pass, it could be trouble for A&M, because last year Reed was not a polished passer. He just was not. He has really worked at it. You can tell. He is more accurate. He's making better decisions. You can just tell he has improved his ability to throw the football from last year to this year. And if that's the case, Texas A&M could probably move the football. Jackson Arnold and Auburn, we'll see if they can move the ball, because I'm telling you right now, they should be able to, because A&M's defense just hasn't been as good. Like, even in the win against Notre Dame, they're getting carved up. They give up 40 points in that game. Against UTSA and Utah State at home, they're giving up points. They're giving up yards. Obviously, they've been an over machine, 3-0 to the over. That's kind of where I go in this game, is over 52.5. I think it can get there.
Yeah.
I'm riding A&M's overs until they stop cashing at this point. So I think it can get there in the 52.5 range. I think A&M's the better team. I like the spot off a bye week. Normal, if they had played this game 1 week after the Notre Dame game, maybe it's a hangover for A&M. But I think the bye week might mitigate an emotional hangover from that Notre Dame game. And I do think they're a better team than Auburn. So I lean A&M. I don't know about laying 6.5, but might put them in a money line parlay of some kind. C-Mac, what do you think here? Auburn, Texas A&M.
Yeah, the spot's well for A&M, and I think that's why we haven't had a touchdown, just because the Auburn loss. But one thing, this is the best defense they'll face, Texas A&M, so far. I think it just is, even though they might be able to find some holes. But, you're playing a team like Baylor, Notre Dame, did Auburn, and Mateer in Oklahoma last week, and he finally made some big plays late. So I think that keeps Auburn in it. It's just the spot is kind of shitty. But I have to just as a favorite, Texas A&M is a stay off for me. As soon as he's a dog, we talked about it. They hadn't been a dog in a very long time.
Yep.
They went outright, and then they're back to this touchdown favorite role. That there's just no way I want them.
I can vouch for that. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know he's got a long-term really porous.
Yeah, it's
ATS
pretty
record
rough the
on
last couple
paper.
of years looking at it.
Yep.
Right here. So I think Auburn's in this game. Just because I think they can move the ball on Texas A&M. It's just a little bit of a tough loss last week. But yeah, I would lean Auburn a little bit.